even when you are not transitioning, the coming out is not just only you coming out. Yeah.
That's the only thing I knew. How I didn't
You
know.
didn't know,
Or
but
what.
you knew what you
The only
want.
thing I knew was I need to be taken back to hospital.
Okay, I get
Something
you.
is wrong.
They didn't come back because they did not know how to take care of the situation.
Yeah. For you to maintain your peace and your mental health, there's people that you need to lose. This lady, she's got a bit of lesbian tendencies. I don't understand it, but
Common with people that are like us, they're queer, but they don't want to be known, or they're still in denial to accept
Yes,
who they are.
yes. Where
Where you're
else?
supposed to be feeling safe, that's where
where
you
you don't
get
feel
shocked to
safe,
say,
yeah.
but why are you being like this to me?
Thank you for watching our video. This show is sponsored by DreamStream. DreamStream is a unique platform where creators can monetize their video content. All creators rely on support from people like you. Join us on the DreamStream platform to support your favorite creator and view the episode without any adverts. Follow the link in the description for a how-to guide. DreamStream, a place where you can create yourself.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Real Queer Talk with myself as your host, Tholo, the Inimitable one, Motaung. And today we've got a special guest. I'm actually excited about this one. He is affectionately known as Rhu and has not made a mark for himself in the corporate world only, but also in the entertainment space. From 9 to 5, where he is an operations manager, he doubles as a DJ and well known as a DJ. Is it DJ Imme or DJ Im?
It's DJ Imme. It's short for I Am Me. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Lovely. There you have it, DJ Imme, and carrying a great responsibility of also managing the top surgery list for Bara Hospital. And I'm, as I said, super excited to be joined by the awesome Rhulani Khoza. Hey, Rhulani.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for making time to come. It's nice when we have conversations with different people. And I think for me, it gets even more interesting when we have people that are so active in the society, doing different things, to get to know them better. Because, I've seen you playing at different places. I've seen you on social media. So, I believe that behind everything, there's a story, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But perhaps to kickstart our conversation, you are originally from Witbank,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Can you just take us back home? Just to share with us what's home like. Your parents, your siblings.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, I'm originally from Witbank. So now it's known as Emalahleni.
Yes.
So it's a coal city. Basically, it's a mining town. It's not as small as you would expect a mining town to be. In most cases. It's quite vibrant. And then my family, it's not a very big family.
Okay.
I mean, we are 3 kids, but unfortunately my sister's late.
Oh,
so I've got an
sorry.
older brother, and then I'm the youngest.
Yeah.
And then I've got my mom and dad. They're still alive.
Yeah.
So they're in Witbank. So basically majority of my family, like even cousins and everyone, is mostly in Witbank.
Yeah.
There are some that are around Joburg, but obviously we're scattered all over the place. And you understand, most people when they come to Joburg, it's about work and all of that. It's not so much more on the social side or whatever. You know? So growing up in Witbank for me was very interesting and in a way that I've never seen myself settling in Witbank.
Is it?
Yes.
Why was that?
I don't know. I just had this thing of I don't want to be in Witbank, you know. And for me, it's because this is where my journey started, and obviously I need to explore and go to other places. That's what I thought. So if I can tell you, I left home in 2004 to do my first year at varsity, and I never went back home. I never moved back home. So
doing varsity, you came to Joburg or you went
I went to KZN to study.
Yeah.
And fortunately, when I was there, I got my job in KZN.
Yeah.
So I also stayed there for some time, from 2004 until 2012, actually.
Yeah.
And then that's when I moved to Joburg because I got a better opportunity finally in Joburg. And
Okay.
that's basically what happened. And yeah, I've been,
Yeah.
I've been in Joburg. And yeah, so basically that's it for me. And also for me, what I realized is most of us in Witbank, as people, the closest place was Pretoria.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you go to Pretoria, you'll meet someone definitely from home.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing for me, that this is more like a mini Witbank. So Pretoria
want
was
something
out. So I was like,
different.
no, Pretoria's out. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, what's the next thing? And I went further.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was interesting. I left home using a train
Okay.
to go somewhere because I wasn't familiar. I didn't travel much. I didn't have any experience of flights or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was young, you know? So went first year, took a train, and that's how my life started, and I never looked back.
Well, how was the transition from moving to Witbank to a city? Because Durban is
Yeah,
basically a
yeah.
city and it's bigger. There's more happening and yeah.
Yeah, the one thing about me is I'm very grounded. I'm a very calm person naturally.
Yeah.
So I always keep my head low. And my motto in life is stay low and build high.
Okay.
So that's basically what got me through, because I didn't want to now suddenly get excited and be like,
Yeah.
let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. Because I'm coming from like a small town in comparison to where I'm at now. So I'm not gonna now try and act like I know. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously I
right?
didn't know, you know. It's like a Johnny comes to Joburg
Yeah.
type of a thing. So I didn't know. So I was like, no, let me stay calm. I'm not gonna get all excited, and then the next thing I'm lost in all of this. So
Yeah.
I was very calm and just settling and trying to figure out, okay, how do I maneuver? And always in everything, especially being in the queer community, the biggest thing is safety.
More than anything. You're so
So
right.
that's the driving force behind every decision that I've made back then, because I was young and I was like, okay, I have the responsibility of looking after myself now. There's no one now. And I mean, it's a simple thing as waking up. No one is going to wake you up.
True.
You need to wake yourself up.
You have to push yourself.
No one's going to tell you to go to class. Either you
Yeah.
go or you don't go. And no one's going to ask you if you didn't go. They're not going to be like,
Aish.
hey, you missed this or
Aish.
whatever.
It's on your shoulder.
Yes, unlike when you're at home, you have your mom or your dad asking you, or you've got, you know, the thing of, did you do your homework? And here it's all on you. So
Yeah.
those are the things that I had to think about, that, okay.
Yeah.
Now.
And in terms of friends or the social life, as you say that you are grounded, did you have those kind of circles that you associated yourself with?
Yes, yes. I can tell you funny story. It starts from Witbank.
Okay.
There's a friend of mine, we went to the same preschool with, went to the same primary school, and then our journey drifted in terms of there's a grade that she failed.
Okay.
And then obviously I moved ahead. So now obviously there's a bit of a distance now. I mean, if you doing this grade and I'm doing this grade, the conversation is not the same.
Yeah.
You know, you need to mingle with people at your level now, because the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what happened is that friend of mine, and this is where the story gets interesting. We never had any talks of sexuality or anything like that.
Yeah.
And as we grew older and we went into high school, we still now met up at the same high school.
Okay.
As much as she was a grade behind, but now high school, at least it was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm familiar. I mean, I'm like your senior, but not that far ahead,
Yeah.
type of a thing. And we had conversations of this girl that I liked, you know. And this friend of mine was like, no, you know, I write letters. It's much smarter that way. You don't have to tell them. You just
Yeah.
write to you from me, you
Yeah.
know, in a song. So choose a song to you from me. And that's how we reconnected in our friendship, only to
Okay.
find that we actually share the same preferences when it comes to dating, which means we are both into women.
Yeah.
And this person is someone that I grew up with, I mean, from the early ages of
Yeah.
childhood. So, yeah. So that's one friend of mine is a constant. Even when I go back home now,
Yeah.
that's someone that I'll be like, hey, are you around? I'm home,
Yeah.
because she stays in Witbank,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then obviously in life, I met a couple of friends. I've got a diverse group of friends. There's
Yeah.
people within the community and outside of the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with you, how early in life were you able to tell that, you know, this is actually my preference, and that maybe I'm different from others?
Yeah, I can say for me from around about the age of 10, you know, because you started seeing this thing of, you see people around you interacting with other people, or when you're playing, especially in the townships, when you're playing, and you can see, okay, this boy likes this girl or prefers to play this role with this girl or whatever, and you feel like sort of like some sort of jealousy, or being like, no man, but
It
that should be
actually
me, or type of a thing. So that's where I actually discovered that, and it happened firstly with my like neighbor
Okay.
from my grandmother's house. So
Yeah.
whenever I'd visit there, like, I really liked this girl, eh? But the thing is, she was way older. She was more in the age group of my brother. So obviously,
not you.
yeah, she was looking at my brother, not
Yeah,
me.
don't you?
You know, that kind of a thing. And I was like, yo, man, but this lady, there's something, I don't know how to describe it, because at that time I didn't know what is the feeling, or why do I like this person in this way. Up until then, when I really got into high school and realized, okay, there's actually people are in relationships, they are dating or whatever. But now I'm having this interest in these kind of people. And at that time, obviously, being female at that time, because also obviously now I've transitioned.
Yes.
It was like, okay, maybe this is not normal, or what's going on? And you need to navigate all of those feelings of, should I be doing this? Is it right, or whatever? And obviously, society is not showing you that
Yeah.
this is allowed. You can actually do this. You can, I mean, that was in the 90s. The exposure now is much more different
Yeah, it's
for
very
the kids now.
different, and the social media,
Yes,
the
yes,
internet as well helps a lot
yes.
in that.
So, I mean, it was at that time, and that's where basically we moved into this thing of, no, write a letter.
Yeah,
And even then, like I say, the letter was not from me, as in my names on the letter. It was just to you from me,
left her confused. Who's
Well,
this?
the funny part of it, someone told her apparently that, no, the
Okay.
letter's from this one.
How did she take it?
And you know what? She confronted me, obviously. And the thing is, we're going with the same transport. So after school, because we were friends, she didn't have anything of this one, whatever. Even though you see a person, I mean, the dynamics of most of us, you can see when this one walks this way, or this one behaves this one is boyish, this one is not really feminine or whatever. And she asked me, and I listened to her, and then she was like, yeah, let me read the letter. So she read the whole letter.
In front of you.
Yes, I felt stripped. I actually felt like naked. To a point that I actually denied it. I said, no, there's no ways.
What do you think made you feel naked?
Because I felt like, okay, this means it's a wrong thing. I shouldn't have, because why would you feel the need to actually even read it like that and be like, yeah, why? Like, why? And all of that. There was a lot of whys. And at the same time, I'm struggling with my own whys.
Exactly.
And then now here's this person, I'm trying to express how I feel, and they're also questioning that. So it actually takes me back to saying, okay, is this wrong? Or I shouldn't have actually said, or whatever.
Sure. I think your experience was a bit, tied, because with me, I wrote a letter to this guy, and they had a tuck shop at their place. So I left so I went to buy bread, and I left him with the letter. And I think he didn't show anyone because nobody spoke about it, but also all I got was ignorance. Like he literally ignored me. He did not say anything until much later. I think it was 5-7 years later. Then he wanted to engage me and say, hey, that letter. But now I had grown, and the interest was, at others. I'm curious to know that in the state of confusion now, who do you talk to? Who's that person that you're able to say, hey, look, this is the situation? And even if they're not giving you answers, but, just somebody to talk to.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, my mom is my best friend. So
That's cool.
Yeah. So what happens is, and I always looked at her and I was like, this lady, she's got a bit of lesbian tendencies. I don't understand it. But yeah, I was like, okay, I guess something happened in the genes, because I was like, I'm not sure about this lady. I mean, how did she
But
become...
she could be just tomboyish.
Yeah, I was like, no, this one, she's not normal, like the typical mom.
Normal in our terms.
Sure. Yes, I was like, no, this one, something is off,
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's someone that I shared the story with. That okay, this incident happened at school, and But now the thing is, in telling her, I actually didn't tell her. I wrote the letter. I still said to her, I didn't write the letter. And one thing that always gave me comfort with my mom is the fact that she would always be like, you know what, you're my child. I know you and I love you. And that for me was enough. And that's something that gave me the bravery to actually be who I am and live as who I am. To a point that even with this I am me name, to me it has so much more depth and meaning because it's just who I am. I'm just being me. You know? I love music. It's for the love of it. It's who I am. It's within me. And me being who I am as I am is just that. It's just me being me. And that's one of the inspirations that I got. And she didn't even ask anything or whatever. She was like, no, I know you, you're my child, and I love you. And that's it, you know? And that's been a big inspiration for me to be comfortable that in every aspect or every journey of my life, she's the person who knows, you know. To this very point, she's the person who knows and who I had to basically, what do I say, socialize or educate on this and say, okay, this is what's happening. And we've had conversation and there's and most of the things, it seems like they have stories. And I'll tell you a story right up to my transition in terms of how it involves my mom and what happened, you know? And which was the reflection of, do you remember this conversation we once had? And But yeah, from that point with that lady, we continued being friends, and it was just that friendship. And but the strange thing is, she started giving me more hugs and whatever. So there was
affection
somehow. Then I was like, but I don't understand.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
The way you made me feel in terms of the letter and how you're behaving, I don't understand it.
But isn't that, you know, now we're talking in hindsight and also given our experiences at this point, isn't that common with people that are like us? They're queer, but they don't want to be known, or they're still in denial to accept who they are.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's actually an experience in society, because you find that most people that have an issue or are more vocal on other people's sexuality, they're battling with their own sexual identity.
Issues,
and now they are seeing these people that are out there living their true self, and they feel the need to be like, yeah, you are this, you are gay, you are trans, you're lesbian, hey, this, and feel the need to attack them, but they're actually fighting their own battles. And that's something that I realize with most people, that it's always good to step back when things happen and reflect. Is this really about me, or is it about the person themselves?
Sure, that's so profound.
Find that, because you find that a person is attacking you, but it's their insecurity, and they actually have a bit of jealousy and admiration at the same time, because seeing you boldly being you, it's like, I wish I was brave enough. You know, I wish I had the courage to do that, or I wish I had the courage to face my family, to tell them, and to be who I am, and to just be myself instead of living for everyone else. So sometimes it's that, and I think for us in the community, we like taking it in the sense of hate. Oh, these people, they hate us and this, but we never get to understand also on the other side that these are also possibilities, that this person needs help. They need education. And my journey, I've realized that, especially because I was born female, you know, and in the walk of life, I realized, yes, I'm into women, but am I comfortable in this body? Is this who I am? Is this who I want to be? You know, what do I want to look at? What image do I have of myself? You know,
what got you to that point of really doing that internal work of saying, but you know, let me look deep for me to make a decision?
So my nickname from my brother is Mfana. Okay. So my brother would say, like, call my name, and then that would be my middle name.
Okay.
Mfana, and then whatever, you know. And that always used to upset me a lot. It really upset me because I was like, why is he calling me that? Like, why does he feel the need? That's how, if he knew that, okay, I want to get to this one,
Yeah.
that's all he needed to say.
That's
and
it.
then he knew that, okay, I got this one. So I actually took that time to say, okay, why is it that it's that? And obviously it's because I was rough, how I would play and like how I would carry
Bomfana
myself. So it was like, actually, you're a boy. And
Yeah.
to top it off, he looks like my mother. I look like my father. And then it's like, okay, definitely something went wrong between the two of us, something went wrong. There was an error there.
Yeah. Genes played
Yeah, like
otherwise.
something went wrong there. So it was like, yes. And it was more on that even with relating, I relate more with my father more than he does. And it's like, okay, actually, and how I think, it's like,
Yeah.
it's exactly that, okay, you are just your father, And I had to like look at that and be like, okay, you know what? I know that, okay, I don't see myself in a white wedding dress or having like to give birth or being this, or this is not the image for me. But that image of, okay, I can see myself with this type of a woman, and that is what I liked. That's what I visioned. And I realized that, okay, I actually need to look at it and understand myself.
Yeah.
To a point where I now went to my mom because, like I said, growing up in a society where a boy needs to be with a girl needs to be with the boy, and all of that. I went back to my mom. I was like, you know what? We need to talk, here's the deal. Now, I need to go to grade 8.
Okay.
So let's make a deal. I'm going to do so well and pass so well that when I do well, before I go to high school, you need to take me back to hospital so they can change me into who I am.
Okay.
A boy.
Yeah.
So when I go to high school, I can go there as
As a
a boy.
boy.
Because now when I go there, I want to wear pants and this and this and
Yeah.
this all the time. So please. So I'm just going to
That was
promise you
smart
that,
thinking of you.
And yeah, it was smart, but it was not so smart because I didn't realize that it doesn't work like that.
But the hope.
Yes, but there was deception there because my
Yeah.
mom said, okay, you know what? Yes, definitely, like, yeah.
So in your mind was that when you change, it's basically like the whole change of everything in your
Everything.
body.
It was
Okay.
like, okay, we go to hospital, they fix me.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I knew. How I didn't
You
know.
didn't know,
Or
but you
what.
knew what you
The only
want.
thing I knew was I need to be taken back to hospital.
Okay, I get
Something
you.
is wrong.
I get
This
you.
is not the right body.
Yeah.
So the only thing that's missing here is the hospital to do
Yeah.
their work, And my mom agreed. I was like, yeah, no, definitely. You do well. We'll go for that. I said, okay. Here I am. I do well. I get into the school that we were hoping for that I would get.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm like, okay, so when are we gonna go? Because the schools are gonna reopen and I'm studying high school. And mom was like, hi, we'll talk about it. We'll go, I'll check and then I'll let you know. I went through high school. I forgot all of that. And I kept on working hard. And everything that I did, I was very active in sports. I was very disciplined in whatever. I was one of those people that I didn't want to be at the principal's office.
Yeah.
If there was issues with the class and the whole class goes, I felt bad because I was like, I don't want my parents to know because it's going to ruin my chances of getting what I want. And what I want is I must do well. I must achieve the things I need to achieve so that I can be taken back.
So now you go through high school as a female.
Yes, and nothing happens.
Eish. Now, in when you participate for sport, which side do you fall?
I have to participate with the females because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we can't put you like with the boys,
Right.
Yeah, you're strong or you can, but now in reality, when we go compete with other schools, who's gonna explain that or what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
So I went through that, and then I had a change of school when I was doing grade 11.
Okay.
So I now went into a Christian school, and I went there, and I was like, you know what? It was a private school because the school that I was at was a multiracial public school, but now there was a lot of discipline issues and whatever. And my mom was worried that, okay, this one is not gonna really like focus because if there's disruptions in school,
It
the
can be
grades are not
easily
gonna be good,
distracted.
and you need to go to varsity. So she sacrificed. She said, okay, you know what? I'll take you to the school. It's extra cost. And my dad was only willing to cover so much. Okay, fine. I went there and I said, you know what, I'm going to make you proud. On that interview, I remember I said, I'm going to be a prefect in this school. I'm going to do so well and everything. And I achieved all of that, you know. And still all these things that I'm doing, for me, is that thing of now someone will come and say, okay, you've achieved all these things. You said you would do them. Let's go back. So the driving force behind all of that was I
For
will go
you to
back,
be able to,
you know.
yeah.
And it never happened. So eventually when I learned in life that, okay, you can actually transition, there's medical transitioning and I started doing my research and I was like, okay, I'll see this.
How did you get to know about the transition, that there's something called transition that exists?
So what happened is growing up,
Mm.
ne, there's people that they would say, there's a friend of mine that I had, they would say, no, this one, itrasi, you know, they'd call it that. And I was always
Hey,
like,
they call us names.
yeah, I was like, what is that? You know, what is that? Then when I get when I got more exposed in life and I started doing my research and reading up on things, and I realized that, okay, these things, they actually require finances. They require this and this. And which it took me so long because it's a thing of I need to be financially stable because there's a lot of dynamics that go into it. The lifestyle, the requirements, and for your own health. You know,
As
you don't
well.
want to do backdoor stuff. You need to be
Yeah.
healthy as a person. So there's a lot of requirements. And that's when I was like, okay, actually a lot of things for us in the queer community, I realize it really needs you to work hard. You work double as
Double
hard
the-
as
yeah.
your peers because
Yeah.
now, even in the work environment, you know, for your recognition, you good, you are the best. You do whatever, but you need to work extra hard because now you have this dark cloud of your sexuality hanging over you all the time. Even if people don't say it, but it's that thing of you are queer.
I think that's one of the things that gets me afraid to go back to corporate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do work as a consultant, and
Yes.
it's that thing that you walk in a room and it's like you can see people's
Yeah,
reactions.
they,
You know,
they look at you
like,
from
right.
that point of, oh,
So now you have to say your whole bio for them to be convinced that, okay, we've got the right person in front of us. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So
I
you
get
have
you.
to sell yourself so much more. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's the challenge. And I realized that with having that, there's so much that is involved. You really need to work hard. You need to be financially stable. You need to have access. And which is why we try to get things going for a lot of people in terms of spaces and so it became that for me that, okay, fine, this thing, obviously, as an adult, being independent and whatever, I need to now make a decision on how do I proceed, how do I do this, you know. And it still went back to a conversation, and that's basically the conversation of, remember, you were supposed to take me back, you never did, now I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah.
So that's the conversation I had with my family to say, remember, there's this thing. And that was the driving force of, I'm going to do this. And nothing ever happened. Nobody even came back and said, okay, sorry. Actually, at that time, we were just agreeing because of 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons or whatever.
But could it be that they didn't come back because they did not know how to take care of the situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that because also with my journey in transitioning, it's not only, I'm not the only one that's transitioning.
Yeah,
It's everyone
yeah.
else around me.
And I think that's what we miss, right? That even when you are not transitioning, the coming out is not
Yes.
just only you coming out,
It's everyone
your
else.
whole family, because they care about you and they're
Yes.
part of society. So they also have to come out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they have to protect you
Yeah,
because what
yeah.
happens is when you have things or conversations, people talk. I mean, they will be like, hey, that child from that house is like this and this and this. But now it's that family, you know? It's not just you being singled out. They talk about your whole family. Say, oh, I wonder, like, how did they raise this child
Yeah,
or whatever? And there's
yeah.
nothing wrong with how I was raised. It's just a matter of, this is my preference, this is how I identify, and this is who I want to be. Now you cannot now crucify my parents or my family to say, oh, now they've got this kind of a child.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that is the experience. That's why you need to consider your family in all of this and bring them with. You don't leave them behind. It
Yeah.
goes as far as even your partner, if you have
Yeah.
one at that time,
Yeah.
because now a person meets you at a certain level of life, and then now you're saying, okay, I'm taking a short left here.
Eish.
Now they either go straight or they
Or they
also
go
take.
with you, right?
So you have to give them that space of, okay, this is basically what's happening. So it was a very long, I think it was about 6 months before I even went on hormones and everything to
Yeah.
talk to everyone involved.
Sure.
And I had to go back to my partner several times and check in and say, are you sure? Are you staying?
Yeah.
Because you dated me, you met a lesbian, and now it's going to be a different dynamics.
Yeah.
I'm not that anymore. There's changes. I mean, physical appearance, there's certain things that are going away physically. And these are the things that probably attracts you because you are attracted to women.
Yeah.
So now what happens? Do you stay or what? And
Yeah, because now you're going to see a man.
yes,
Like, it's not
so
going to be
it's
the
like,
same.
yeah, if you're someone that doesn't like a beard, and then now here comes
Here's
this
guy with a beard.
it's
It's
like, oh, it's not smooth here. What's happening?
Yeah.
You know? So it's all those things, and now there's no chest. You're thinking, oh no, and all the other changes physically that happen and procedures. Now you're thinking, no, and it's a lot,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Even with the hormonal treatment itself,
Mm.
you need to be self-aware because it has impact on your mood. So the hormonal changes, a lot of people become very much aggressive.
Yeah.
So you need to actually be aware of that, and you need to manage your emotions. And that happens because you go in a cycle. It's sometimes when your testosterone levels drop
Yeah.
and you have to inject again,
Yeah.
you go on that phase where now your moods are somehow, you have to quickly be aware and know, okay,
Okay.
this is where I take a dip. I need to bring myself back and be aware because you can be irritated easily by anything,
So that's why it's important that you need a good support structure.
Yes. And you need to follow the therapy process and because in studying the whole process, for me, it was even offered to say, do you need your family to also get on board? Do they need
Okay.
it? I said, I'll check with them if they
Yeah.
need it because they need to confirm. Do they want to do this? Do they want to talk to someone professionally, So you have to see a therapist. They have to obviously assess you and say, okay, check where you are and give you guidelines. Not because there's something wrong with you, but it's a tool. We're not expertise in every aspect of life.
And also it's a major change that is happening here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'd like you to, in layman's terms, to explain.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
What is a trans man? Because you are a trans man,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then take us through the journey of your transition in terms of the steps, that are there.
Yeah.
Because it's important that we get to understand what happens and why
Yes.
it needs to happen the way it needs to happen.
Yeah. So starting in terms of what is a trans man, basically it's someone that's born naturally, born biologically female, and then changes into a man. So when you're moving, hence the word trans, because it's transitioning is changing, moving from one thing to another.
Yeah.
So now when you move from female to male, there's certain changes that you go through. Some people, they transition socially before they transition, like in terms of the biological stuff and all the things that you need to take.
So what is
So
it? transition
socially,
socially?
basically, is you go through the identification of, okay, you know what, this is how I identify and this is how I'd like to be classified as a man.
Okay.
And then it starts there socially that people need to recognize that, okay, this is what I'm saying. Please don't call me she or her or whatever, This is how I am. This is how I identify.
Okay.
It's that piece where you introduce yourself in terms of that. And then you need to go through a psychological assessment process where they can see that, do you really understand yourself in terms of where you are saying you are and where you want to be?
Okay.
And do you actually understand the process in terms of what does it mean to change? And when you change, what can be reversed, what cannot be reversed?
Okay.
And what happens and what to expect in the change, So they give you all of that in terms of when you now transition medically, you need to know that, okay, once you start taking hormonal treatment, because there's hormones that you need to take. I mean, when you're born female, you know you've got estrogen.
Yeah.
Now you need to have testosterone as a male. Now you need to understand what are the changes that will come with testosterone. How are you going to look physically? What's going to happen to your body structure? Your strength obviously is going to change. Your voice is going to change. There's certain developments that are going to happen. You're going to start developing hair. Maybe you might have facial hair, but that depends on genetics. If maybe in your bloodline, you can see most of the males in your family don't have a beard, it's most likely that you're not going to have.
Yeah.
You know, you can maybe do some things to try and bring it on, but if genetically you don't have that in your genes, it's most likely that it won't happen with you. And those are the things that you need to understand, that, okay, now, even when you go now physically to have these certain procedures done, I mean, removing of breasts, those are things that you cannot get back. Once they're gone, they're gone. Unless you now go into implants. I'm not sure how they're going to now look.
It's going to be complicated.
Yeah, because I mean, as soon as you're on that, your structure and the design in terms of your chest, it changes. You know, it doesn't appear feminine. It's masculine. So it's all those things. And the thing is also, there's a loss that you have genetically where if you want to give birth, you will not be able to, might not be able to, because now what happens is you stop producing estrogen for you to be able to have kids. And at the same time, if you go further in terms of your procedure, or you remove your womb and everything like this, and you actually change your sexual organ, definitely you're not going to have kids, because you're not going to be able to produce semen to have kids and all those things. So it's things that you need to be aware of, that when I take this journey, these are the irreversible things that come with it. And this is basically all the changes, because some people have found that if they just go physical and they think, oh, I like this, maybe I don't like to have breast, I want a flat chest. And they're thinking, okay, this is the way to go, not actually realizing that, do you really identify as a man and everything that comes with it?
And that's the crux of it, right?
Yes, because you saying you want to be a man, and that's who you are. You are a man. Now, being a man comes with these things. You can't go back. You can't say, okay, I just wanted this part. Now I don't want the rest of it, you know? So you have to be fully in, which is why the therapy part comes into play, where you get educated and you know what to expect, and you make an informed decision should you start. Because also, before you start any hormones, you need to go through the psychological assessment part, where they say, okay, you actually fit and ready, you understand, you are aware, and you can actually handle this. And then also, in terms of your health as well, you need to be regulated, you know, because of the dosages and the effect on your liver and your other vital organs. So you need to actually be sure and do this medically correct. You don't just sit at home and think, okay, I want this, let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, or just Google, because now we've got access to Google, and you just Google it and then you start. It doesn't work like that. You need to be sure and be safe. And there's support structures, you know, like most trans men and trans women, especially in Joburg. I know they've started a center in Pretoria as well. We've got Vets RHI. So that's a trans clinic. So they help a lot of people. They give you assessments. They assist you on your journey, and they just walk you through the process. So, but having a support structure is important in terms of people in the field of that can help you. And then also within your family, you need to be honest with them, so that they can basically understand you. And you don't have to suffer being misgendered, because that's a big impact as well. And it really can be very depressing, you know, where you experience that, okay, you keep being addressed as a she, or this, or being told this, or you are being asked, when are you having kids? When are we seeing the groom, or Mkhwenyana, whatever? And then it's like, but I am the Mkhwenyana, so what are you saying?
Can you recognize that?
So it's all of that. So that piece is very important, and that structure. You know, you need to be stable, you need to have support, and everyone around you, even your friends, you know. And sometimes also transitioning, it comes with a loss, because not everyone is willing to get on board. And that's how you lose people. You lose friends, because for you to maintain your peace and your mental health, there's people that you need to lose.
Yeah, that's my belief that as well. When a person comes out right?
Yes, yes.
You'd find that there are people that will move away from you. You know, I know in my case as well, there are friends that stuck around, there are friends
Yes.
that, you know, moved away,
Yes,
there are
yes.
family members that moved away. And for me, it was, this is okay because then I'm left with people who love me for me,
Yes.
that I don't have to make them comfortable at my expense
Yes,
of
yes.
that I have to alter who I am so they can get comfortable.
Yeah.
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 So the for you, how challenging or how pleasant was the transitioning journey?
Yo, it's a bit of both, hey?
Yeah.
It's a bit of both. I'll start on the family aspect of it, you know. We're not a big family, I would say. And mostly on my father's side, I mean, they're quite far. They're in Limpopo and all those places they're scattered. And I'm not so worried about them
Yeah.
as such, you know. And it was mostly my immediate family at home where now, like, how do they feel? How do they take this? Because those people, they know me from day one,
Yeah.
you know. And mostly my father has always had an issue. He's always had an issue of not understanding, why is this child like this? What did we do wrong? What happened, you know?
Yeah.
And that was his battle. And now it's like, when he's now comfortable that, okay, this child is basically dating other women. Oh, okay. Right. No lobola for me. I must just be happy and accept. Cool. Then comes another twist of, okay, this child now is actually becoming a man.
Man.
And it's like, okay, what now? What's next? Like, what's going on, you know? So I think it was always too much for him. And he would just be like, okay, he just decided to go with whatever my mom goes with. It's
Okay.
fine with him. So he just basically follows on.
Yeah.
And my mom has always stayed the same. And even when they would have conversations, my mom would say, you know what, to my father, if you know a dustbin or a trash can where they put kids, you take the child and put the child there, because I don't know it. This
Sure.
is my child.
Sure.
So if you know that, you go. You can go. Take the child and put the child there yourself, because I don't know of such, you know? And I think those are the things that defeated him, to understand that, okay, no, you know what? It
This
is
my
what it is.
child.
And this means we are stuck with this child. This is what God gave us. There's nothing we can do. And yeah, it basically became that the only questions that with my mom is, okay, obviously you need to educate me. I need to understand. I need to know every step. I also need to know, are you okay? Is it safe? Is this what's happening? Even when I went to hospital, it's like, okay, like, I need to pray about this. I hope you're going to be okay, and all these things. So she's more involved. She needs to know what's happening. And then we've got her two sisters, and they are very old school. So what they would rather do, they would talk like just amongst each other or behind. They won't say anything. Because the other time they were like, yeah, they were asking her. It's something that probably they were discussing, like, hey, this one has a beard now. And it was like, yeah, you know? And at that time, she didn't even notice that I've got a beard.
But they did.
They did. And
Yeah.
then also now my nephew actually told her that, yeah, I saw the beard. And like 7-year-old child, I was like, yeah, I saw the beard. Didn't you see? You know, that kind of a thing.
But I think also for her, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, for her is she's now seeing you as her boy. So when the beard is there, it's like boys get
nothing new, it's
beard. So it's
normal.
not, you get what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
with them, they probably still see you as
Yeah.
the girl that they know you. But obviously with the transition, there's going to be these changes.
Yeah. So I think for her it's that, because even one thing, like, even with changes, like when I talk to them over the phone, you know, there's a time where they were like, did you have a hectic night? Were you out, or what was happening? They were asking themselves that because of the voice, not realizing that, no, it's part of the
actually
changes.
changes.
It's actually changing. Now it's like this. And then
It's deeper, it's more,
they got more used to it, that, oh, okay. Because they realize that anytime, call me anytime, it's the same. And then they actually realize that, oh, okay, it's like this now.
Okay.
You know, which is the same thing I had at work, because with work, you know, you do meetings mostly on Teams.
Yeah.
So they would always like think, okay, because I'm a DJ, especially if I have meetings on a Monday,
Yeah,
they'll be
it's
thinking,
like, hey, this one had a hectic
This
weekend.
one, but then they actually realize over the time that, no, but this one is
Yeah.
the same, man. And then it was like, actually, No, you know, it is
Touching
that.
on work, then
Yeah.
let's move to that space.
Yeah.
In building your career and having to navigate, the transitioning, how were you able to manage that, in a way that you're able to deal with the, challenges that will come, whether it's from your boss or your colleagues or even clients,
Yeah.
for that matter?
Yeah. I have to say, in a workspace, I'm quite fortunate because in all the companies I've worked for in the corporate space, I didn't experience any discrimination
Okay.
where it's like said to me straight up.
Yeah.
Because I know people talk behind your back, and it's one of those things, you
Yeah.
know. Because I remember there's a company that I worked for in 2013, and people were shocked because I went there, induction and whatever, and they were shocked because when I got there, like there were people, but they were in the closet. Now here
Oh,
I come and dressed as how I
comfortably
am, and I'm
out.
like, hey,
Hey,
I'm
this is
here,
me.
you know? And then they're like, and then suddenly these people start resurfacing, you know? And it's like,
You made them comfortable.
you know, it's possible.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things. But you find the challenge in the workspace because I've mostly been like in management roles. You find it hard that when you're dealing with men, they always have that thing of wanting to be like, I'm a man, like I'm a cisgender man, I'm a naturally
Yeah.
born male. They always want to have the thing of making you feel somehow or trying to be a bit difficult, but it's a test where you have to now stand your ground and be like, okay, I'm not gonna take it personal.
Yeah.
You always have to approach it in a professional approach because if they don't have a leg to stand on professionally, they
That's it.
actually then have to comply in
Yeah.
whatever that you are saying, and it's nothing about my sexuality or whatever. It's just about work.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal, and that's how I've navigated that. It's nothing personal up until I got to a company that I work for now, and what happened there is with everything and the changes and everything. The HRBP, I spoke to her and the exec in HR, and they actually were like, okay, congratulations. Like, you know what? We wish you all the best. Congratulations for being you and also for declaring. Now we need to do a change management with everyone and in the
Yeah.
space that you work so that they know that, okay, this is basically what's happening
Yeah.
and this is it. And what I like is that the culture and diversity in that basically in that company, it's embracing, and that's what they are preaching. They are welcoming in terms of people need to be who they are, and to a point that there's been talks now in terms of saying, because most offices they include disabled toilets,
Yeah.
people that maybe identify a certain way, they also have access to the disabled
Disabled
toilets, so that
toilets,
it's not a matter of, if obviously some people they haven't transitioned, and like now if you've got a full face beard as a man born naturally, and you're saying, now I'm identifying as female, I want to change, you cannot really just walk into a ladies toilet. I mean, now they're feeling unsafe, it's a risk to them, and in the same case, you cannot tell me I must go to,
Yeah. To the women's.
so they've created that policy to say, you know what, the disabled toilet is available for everyone to use in that sense, so that we don't have any discomfort for everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
feels safe.
Right.
So that's the one thing. But I can tell you, it's not easy.
Dreamstream, a place to create yourself. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Record video, music, and podcasts in our full-service studio. Dreamstream, a place to create yourself.
Because policies, it's black and white.
Yeah.
It's in paper.
Yeah.
It's what the ideal or the
But the
idea
lived
is.
experiences
Yes.
gets to be different.
It's up to the people in terms of the actually living up to those values and applying it. So you will get someone that tries you here and there, and you can see that this disrespect or challenge, it's coming from the fact that you are focused on me and who I am as a person more than the work. And we still need to bring it back to, but it's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Who I am and what I do outside of these walls it's on me. It's not your responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
So it's strength. We need to be strong as people. We need to also know ourselves.
Yeah.
We need to be comfortable and secure within ourselves because the challenges are there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dynamics, and even in the community as well. You know, you get shocked that most of the unpleasant experiences or discrimination you experience it in the community.
No, that's true. I know.
It's not even.
That I know.
Not
that
even
I know.
anywhere
Where
else.
you're supposed to be feeling safe, that's where you
don't
get
feel
shocked to
safe.
say,
Yeah.
but why are you being like this to me? Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's sad because you know the letters where they say LGBTIQ plus. You are thinking some people they only recognize one or two of those letters. Everything else it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
They don't know about it,
Yeah.
and then they like treat you somehow or whatever. So that's for me. That's a space where it's a challenge, and that's where we still need to do more work in educating.
Do you feel like lesbians and gays are sort of given priority over trans people? Even how issues are paid attention to when it comes to the letters.
Yeah. I would say yes, because I think that's the most popular. Let me put it that way, for lack of a better word. I would say that's the most popular, most famous that people know of. The others they don't know of or they don't understand. So it happens, but it's due to the fact that which is more exposed, you know? And I think that's why the focus is more on that. Because if you can see, when they talk about the gender-based violence, they're only addressing lesbians and gays. What about trans women? What about bisexual people?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's all of that. Those people, they experience that violence and they don't know, you know? They only think it's happening with lesbians and gays, but it's not that. I think it's because that's the most popular one. And also it becomes a thing of if you don't know, you might not know.
Yeah.
If I walk into a room now and I meet someone that doesn't know me, has never met me ever in life, they're not gonna ask me, are you trans? Are you, you know?
I mean, one cannot tell. I've seen you many times, and I couldn't tell that you were trans. So it's not giving away. Unlike if I have to walk in a room, the person can pick up that this one is gay.
Yes. So I think that is where the thing is. It's not that exposed in that sense. And also a lot of the people, as much as they are, they're not saying. That's the other thing. Because why? People are afraid of being discriminated.
Yeah.
So they're living a stealth life where you don't know. If you don't know me naturally, you don't know
Safer
me.
that way, better
You know?
that way.
Yes. So it's those things. So I think that's why we miss out, because now we just it's hard to identify unless we put our hand up and say, hey guys, we're here. Can you please integrate us? Can you please help us? And I see now a lot of, because of the lot of talks that people are coming out in, there is incorporation even with the prides, you know, because mostly you would see there's a trans flag.
Yeah.
You would see that it doesn't feature.
It doesn't.
anywhere.
Yeah, true.
Now people are starting to recognize it because more and more people are stepping up to say, hey, recognize us, help us, because we need help. You know,
Right.
there's a lot of issues that we face and we need help. I
Yeah.
mean, same like we spoke in terms of the top surgery issues. Not everyone can afford to do it privately.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Can you incorporate that with the work that you do at Bara?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is, because of not everyone can afford,
Yeah.
there is a doctor that we are in negotiations with, which is a private doctor, to
Okay.
do it at a lesser rate. Or when you are on medical aid, for the medical aid to cover maybe the bed and other things, and then it reduces your bill that you need to pay because it's quite expensive.
Okay.
So what happens is that because we realize that our government does have the resources to provide the service, you know, it's not only Bara. There's quite a few hospitals. It's just that the more effective one is Bara.
Okay.
Because you have Steve Biko Hospital, you have another one in Garankuwa, not sure of the name.
Yeah.
I think it's George Mukari.
Yeah,
You've also got George Mukari, you've got Steve Biko, you've got Bara. In Gauteng, where they can do this. Helen Joseph used to do it, they stopped.
So they do it for free, or you pay a portion?
So all those three, they do it for free.
Okay.
The only thing you pay is the normal admission or hospital fee, whatever.
Like any other.
Yeah, like for a file and just the normal, you were at the hospital fee, whatever that rate is. but the procedure itself, they do it for free.
Okay.
Now the challenge is it's a backlog because there's a lot of people.
Oh.
And you won't believe it. You won't believe it. But the people that we have on the list at the moment, it's about 56. It started at 360 something when it started. So there's that much.
Sure.
And that backlog goes back so many years. And that's why I'm saying Para is much more effective in terms of assisting.
Okay.
You can put it in that way.
Yeah.
Where we are in liaison with the doctors. I mean, the senior doctor in the breast clinic department, they're quite helpful in terms of saying, okay, guys, we'll accommodate you. We'll do this for you guys. Because that department is specifically dealing with breast cancer clients.
Okay.
But they are actually doing that top surgery for trans men. You've got the plastic surgery department. That one, we're trying to establish a relationship. We don't have accesses yet.
Okay.
Because they work on like a long list. So you can find that if someone goes in January, they'll call them maybe next year or 2 years from now.
Oh.
So now you understand the challenge for us is why that movement in terms of the surgery is important is changes happen physically. So you can imagine if you were to bump into me now, the way I look when you see me physically, but then there's this chest that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Then it's opening you up back to that thing we were talking about. This discrimination starts. The chances of being violated starts because now it's a question of what's going on? What do you have? What are you or what's down there? And now it's exposing you to more risk. Whereas the sooner we can get assistance in terms of people getting surgery that they need to have, it's easy. They can live their lives. No one is going to question them or put them at risk of either being raped or being violated and all of those things.
So you talk about top surgery.
Yes.
Can you explain what is top surgery and what other surgeries there that can be done?
Okay. So basically top surgery is the removal of breast in its entirety. So you just basically, they remove it. And in that process, especially for trans men when they do it, they're not doing it like, let's say, a cancer patient where they will just remove it and they will stay however. The process that they need to apply in terms of the design, they have to design the chest to be masculine. Because remember now, you need to have a masculine appearing chest. So that's what they do.
Okay.
There's various procedures in it in terms of maybe the type of surgery you have depending on your breast size and all of that.
Okay.
But top surgery is basically that. It's just basically a mastectomy where you remove your whole breast. And then other surgeries that are involved, it's a hysterectomy. Hysterectomy now is part of the process in you having your bottom surgery, which has different stages.
Okay.
What happens is at that hysterectomy stage, they remove the whole womb.
Okay.
And everything that's associated with the female reproductive system, basically. And then further to that, you have other surgeries, which in simple terms, we call it top surgery. So chest, top, down there, we call it bottom surgery.
Okay.
What then happens there is obviously the changing of the organ in terms of making it male.
Okay.
There's various steps in it and procedures in it. So in that one, we have Groote Hospital in Cape Town, and Steve Biko also does it.
Okay.
It's just at the moment, it's on a bit of a hold, so we don't know until when it will resume. But they do that process.
Why is it on hold?
The risks are so high on that
okay.
one, and it needs like specialized doctors.
Okay.
So you find that where they don't have the proper team, they just put it on hold.
Okay.
And then you have private doctors that also do it as well. But anything that's private, the issue is the cost involved. So which is huge. And again, medical aid does not cover.
Yeah.
So you have to do it like from your own pocket. So those basically are the procedures that most trans men would do, you know? And and then in support of that, obviously you have to be on hormone.
Yeah.
So meaning you have to take testosterone, which is through injections or gel, whichever one you prefer. Yeah.
Okay. It is a journey.
Yes.
It requires a lot. Support services in terms of maybe somebody that would want somebody that they can identify with, or people that they can talk to, because I mean you want somebody that they can identify with you, you know, when you go through such. Do you have those enough out there?
We've got a couple of groups. There's also a couple of NGOs that cater in supporting of trans men. So like I mentioned, when I mentioned Vets RHI, they do all of that. They incorporate all of that in terms of supporting and counseling and and it's just socialization and inclusion. So they do all of that. They do guidance even on hormones and everything. So they provide even health services. So they do all of that. They are there.
Yeah.
Then we also have NGOs. We've got one in Nelspruit. That's doing that. It's part of the it's called part of the FTM Brotherhood.
Okay.
So obviously female to male brotherhood. So there's that. And then we've also got the Bara Top Surgery List WhatsApp group as well.
Okay.
Where we add people. Most people when they go to Bara, they give them my number
Okay.
and then I add them into the group and then they speak to me.
Yeah.
Because most of them when they go, they'll tell them, no, you need to speak to Imme, and Imme will give you all the information and tell you how does it happen, and then we'll talk to him and then you will know what you need to do.
Okay.
So we have that. And then we've got Access Chapter 2, which is very active in terms of supporting and. So those are the NGOs that are there. But you can always reach out. I mean, when you know someone that, okay, I know this person is trans, or someone that you can talk to. Like, for an example, like if someone approaches me, I help them, you know. I'm not going to go and ask you. Obviously, you need to come to me if you need help. And then I'll give you the guidance and just tell you, okay, you can go here, or these are the people that you can link up to. And other sister organizations that are there, like Iranti helps a lot with that. Few is for women, but they refer. They give referrals because they work with other NGOs. So they'll tell you that, okay, you need to go here. We are actually not the right people for this, but these are the people that will help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. It's so empowering. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
So you also then have the thing for music. Where where does that come from, and how long have you been doing the DJing stuff?
That just comes from growing up. I think a lot of us listened to music growing up. We grew up in the era where our parents used to play vinyls, you know?
Yeah.
And when you play a vinyl, you know that when it ends, you have to move the needle. Where I didn't grow up in an age where there was like you put remotes initially or whatever, and then you can just fast forward, play the next track, you know?
Right.
So I got exposed to understanding music at that age where I was moving the needle, or I knew that, okay, you don't hold vinyls this way.
Yeah.
And this is how when you clean them this way, and this is how the needle should stay and all of that. You know?
You got the proper schooling.
Yeah,
right?
so my father gave me a lot of that background, and that's how I got into a love of music, you know. And what I realized is with music, it feeds the soul, you know. It depends on the music you listen to.
Yeah.
If you're gonna listen to metal or whatever, it inspires that aggression and whatever. But now if you listen to soft, mellow sounds, it also calms you down, calms the spirit or whatever. So I realized that there's healing in music, and that's what I love about music, and that's how my journey came in. And it would be a thing, we go to parties, friends parties, and like, yeah, you take care of the playlist.
Okay.
You know, there's two things that I would be responsible for. It's the braaiing, it's the music.
That's
it.
your
That's me. That's where I get included. You know?
Yeah.
Everything else, I don't know what's happening. I just know those two things. And then I realized that, no, man, I'm doing this a lot. Why don't I explore this, you know?
Yeah.
And then I started buying my own equipment to use at home and practice until I was like, okay, let me get that exposure. Let me step out and start doing this. And that was in 2016. Yeah. And that's how it started, and never looked back. And then I'm just pushing myself, pushing my brand, and just growing within, you know,
That's
and
incredible.
just learning every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone special in your life now?
Yes.
How's it going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
It's going well. We met in, I've known her for some time.
Yeah.
We're friends, but not close, like distant.
Okay.
And it's this thing of you meet someone in the socials and you know them, or you talk here and there, and you know, that kind of a thing. And we started dating in 2022. Yes.
Wow. It's
February. So we've been going, we've been at it. She's still around.
Yeah.
And she started before she's been around before my journey.
Yeah.
And she stuck around. So
that's
I
incredible.
guess, we're still going strong. So
guys, go stronger and stronger. and please protect it.
Yes.
Please protect it.
Yes,
Definitely. The world is mean enough towards us. The best we can do is just to take care of each other.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Create our own safe spaces.
Please.
Yeah, definitely.
Please.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's incredible. And thank you so much. It's just, there's so much that you know, you've got different layers that one would want to know about.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that you came through and shared so much with us. For me, it has been very empowering. I don't want to lie. And I hope that even for viewers as well, it will be
Yes.
that empowering. So for people that would like to follow you and see what you get up to, where do they check you out?
I'm on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram. It's DJ and then it's IMME
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
one underscore. So you can check me there. Facebook it's DJ IMME KHOZA.
Yeah.
TikTok is the same as
Same
Instagram.
friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wish
Thank you
all
for
the
having
best.
me. It's been a pleasure
Yeah.
being here and chatting to you.
Great one. Great
Yeah.
one. So that is how we're wrapping up today's episode. So do follow DJ Imme, right? As the tags have been shared, and let us know what you think and who else you'd like to see on the show. Until the next one, stay blessed.